To our listeners, if you're juggling puberty talks, pads, and pull ups, parenting kids, and holding everything together while trying not to fall apart yourself, this episode is for you. Welcome back to another episode of Nailed It Motherhood Podcast. I am your host with the most, Tamara Eldridge, and I am so glad that you chose to come back and spend your time with me today. Today's guest is here to name the reality of juggling it all those things we just named, with honesty, grit, and much needed humor. She's sharing what it really looks like to manage a household stretched across puberty and memory loss, where caregiving doesn't come in neat chapters and life refuses to pause. This conversation is about the emotional weight, the physical exhaustion, and the grace it takes to keep going when your hands and your heart are full. Please help me welcome today's guest, Dr. Tiffany Sayles, to Nailed It Motherhood Podcast. Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I am beyond excited about what you have to say, but can you tell us just a little bit about who Dr. Tiffany Sayles, the person, is before we jump into today's show?
Sure. So thank you again. I'm excited to be here as your guest. I am Dr. Tiffany Sayles, and I love to say, or to sum, the DR sums up my life, which is divinely resilient. I'm a daughter of the Most High King, and
Yeah.
my first ministry is my family, which I often refer to as my four wheels. My husband, Willie, of 22 years, and our three girls, Willow, Willany, and Willay. And God has graced me to serve in so many capacities, such as community agencies, K-12 education, higher education, as well as within my ministry I'm rooted in, which is at the People Place Church, under the leadership of Pastor Tommy Dillon. I live a very, very full, busy, and active life because I know that I'm here on purpose and for a purpose. And I truly want to maximize every one of my limited minutes that remain. So that's kind of in a nutshell, a little about me.
I love it. You sound so poetic when you talk. You said, I'm here with purpose and on purpose, living for purpose.
Yes.
I love it all. I love it
Yes.
all. Well, thank you again for joining us. And I'm very excited to get into your Her Story segment. But before we do that, we have to get into our episodic Tavi Tale, which is a tradition for our Nailed It Motherhood podcast, because I know my listeners would not be happy with me if I just brushed over my baby girl. They would be
Yeah.
like, what happened with that? Because that's why we come. And I'll be like, but I thought it was for me. And they'd be like, yeah, but so today I want to talk about how much my daughter and I are so much alike, but also so very, very, very different. It is amazing how God works. You carry this little person for however long. There's the argument of 10 months. There's the argument of 9. We've heard 9 for so long. And then science says it's really 10, 40 weeks, 30, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But we carry these little people for so long. And then we watch them grow up and develop these personalities. And for me, I never wanted a little girl because I said to myself, I don't want to raise myself. And that is exactly what I'm doing. I am raising me, the good part of the good parts of me and the bad parts of me. And it is absolutely a mirror where I get to say, oh my goodness, do I do that? And then all of the family is like, yeah. And I'm like, nobody asked you, but I kind of did. But it doesn't matter because I didn't like
Sure.
the response. But anyway, so my daughter, 6 years old, has so many things that are like me. She likes to sing. She likes to draw, and she's very good at it. She likes all things art. She's very good at acting. She is really athletic, and I was like the athlete of the family growing up. But then there's all of these things that she likes that I'm like, who is this little girl? Like, she likes milk. I hated milk with a
What?
passion. And I tried to convince her she was allergic to milk because I really thought, I truly thought she was allergic to milk growing up because she would always get sick. So we tried all of the milks. We tried goat milk. We tried any milk that you can think of. We tried different kind of powdered milks growing up. We had the doctors write us notes because we thought there was a milk intolerance. And so there's a note in her medical record that says that she has an allergy to milk, but she apparently drinks it all the time at school. And I'm like, why
What?
do you drink that? Like, you drink milk? So she loves milk, and I have to buy it now because she likes it. But she also likes stuff like Avatar, like the blue people. And she also likes stuff like video games, like Roblox and football. And, and I'm just like, who is this girl? Like, it's not that she just likes them, but she loves these things. And thankfully, I'm in a relationship with somebody who is completely opposite of me when it comes to certain things. And he loves all of these things. So she can totally relate to him on these things. And they just have a ball just sitting down and enjoying Avatar and the galaxy of what is it? I don't know what it is. The Marvels. I don't know what it is. But they sit there and they just kick their feet up and enjoy. And I'm just like, it's amazing how similar we are, but also how very different we are. So thank you so much for listening to my Tavi tale. Isn't it amazing how just biology works? How nature and nurture works on our kids?
Yeah,
It's
interesting.
Yes, it definitely is. It
Very
definitely
interesting.
is. Well, enough about me and my baby. I always love to share that, but that is not the real reason we're here, listeners. We really came because we have a lovely mama here who has three beautiful children. And we have some interesting things to talk about today. So you said Dr. Tiffany Sayles, and I know I keep calling you doctor because you earned it. You told us that you wanted to talk to us today about penises, pads, and pull ups. The three P's of life, huh?
That is correct.
I'm very curious to see what it is you have to add to our space with that. So I'm going to fall back and I'm going to open up the floor so that you can share your personal parenting journey in your Her Story segment. And yeah, you have your time to shine. The floor is all yours, Dr.
Thank
Tiffany
you.
Sayles. You're welcome.
And thank you for sharing about your baby. I love that segment in your podcast. And thank you for giving me an opportunity to share a little of my story. So I've always had many plans, hopes, and dreams, but one that I desired the most was to be married with a family. And that desire was birthed from the beginning of my life, really. I was born into a loving home. Both my parents, they were married, and an older sister. And it was a beautiful, beautiful beginning. My daddy was like my everything. And around the age of 8, 9, my dad fell into substance abuse and continual incarceration, and that tore our family apart. So eventually, of course, my parents divorced. My mom just no longer wanted to deal with the back and forth, and reality hit. I always longed to have that beautiful family back. But eventually I realized that that wouldn't happen in my current family. So that dream was birthed that one day I will be able to create that family for myself. So fast forward, and shortly after I graduated from college, I was married. And soon after we had our first child. So it was like, yes, my dream came true. My pastor said something. He always says that every miracle has to be managed. So while God had honored my desires, it would take a full surrender for me to not repeat the cycles that I came from, and as well as my husband. From the beginning of our marriage, we committed to living for God and raising our family in the kingdom. And when I say kingdom, I mean not church as usual. He was born and raised in the Baptist church, and he witnessed a lot. And I won't explain what the a lot was, but it was a lot of things that was discouraging and disheartening for him. And fortunately, I wasn't born and raised in the church. So my story was different. I didn't really give my life completely to God until I went to college. And I knew that church as usual would not work for me and my future family. So we prioritized being a part of a kingdom building ministry. But let me say that that did not exclude us from life happenings such as multiple miscarriages, marital strains, dark seasons, valley moments. Like that didn't exempt us. And it seemed like with every challenge and added responsibility, it was becoming more difficult for me to balance it all. And with each wonderful child that we had, life would change and shift in different ways. And oftentimes it would become more overwhelming for me because it brought about more responsibilities. Now, just a little hindsight on that, my husband was always working. He worked all the time. He was a caterer on top of a USDA inspector. So he was very rarely at home. And a lot was left on me. Although I too worked full time and had a plethora of responsibilities. I often describe this season, I talk about it in other publications as my season of running on G, which means well below E, but his grace was my sufficiency. And it was only by his grace that I lived through that season. There were so many times, sis, that I wanted to run away. This is my dream now. I wanted to run away from it all or go to sleep and not have to wake up to it all. I wasn't necessarily suicidal, but just wanted to escape, wanted to breathe again. And fortunately, because of my daddy's choices, that took away any desire for me to ever try to escape through like drugs or substances. And I love my family and I wanted nothing more than to show up for them. But I had lost myself and I had forgotten how to show up for me. I hit a wall and I knew that I could not and would not survive much longer in that state that I was in. So time went on, and now we have 3 girls. And at this time, their ages 13, 8, and 6. And the great thing is they were gaining some levels of independence. The other side was that the older they got, the more they needed. And so at that same time, I kind of started counseling because I realized, although I was a counselor, I was not living my best life for them. And that was a major turning point for me. I was about 40 at that time. And through counseling, I finally found a place where I could breathe again, where I could like recognize Tiffany. And it was still a minute by minute balancing act, but they were able to assume some responsibilities that helped a lot at home, which was very important because remember, it was just me really and them. I was married. It was almost kind of like a single marriage. And so fast forward, God was continually faithful because in spite of the misses and the mistakes and all of the things, our girls soared. Like, honestly, to God be the glory. Top students, top in their class. I'm very well accomplished, well rounded, participating in all the things, gifted, epitomize God girls in every area of their lives, and that's to his glory. I cannot take a lot of credit for that because that was a broken season for me. But he continued to show himself faithful. Yet as the girls got older, again, there are no exemptions. So we had to navigate different things such as sexual temptations, mental health issues, just real life stuff, peer pressure, and questioning, hey, we live this way. Is there a better way? And so I had to work really hard to stay in a place of okay so that I could be available for them. And it was tough. It was a lot of tough seasons. And my oldest daughter, who sometimes reminds me of your baby, she was sunshine and lollipops. And she had her things, but she was amazing. And so when she transitioned to college, while I was excited to see her spread her wings and fly, she was our first to leave. And it seemed like all hell broke loose when she left. And then my middle daughter, I think that transition and many other things, she was by this time entering into teenage years herself, so many things happened with her. And on top of that, my marriage was struggling to make it. And so it was a lot going on in that season. And then to top it off, my mom, who I had not really been close with since I was an adult, her health began to quickly decline. So I got all this going on, right? Well, at this time, I'm a college professor. I'm a school counselor. College professorship was kind of part time at the time. And then began to pursue my doctoral degree while still showing up for my three. There was so much going on. And although my mom had not been actively present in me and my girls' lives since I was an adult, she expected me to stop, drop, and roll at her beckoning call. So praise God, I had community surrounding me, including my counselor. They helped me do my best to keep that in balance. So the title, where did the title came from? This is the funny part, because that's all heavy stuff. Well, the title came from that season when I felt like I wasn't just in the sandwich generation. It wasn't just, oh, you're in the generation where, your parents are aging and ailing, and then you're also raising children. Oh, you're just a sandwich. Mm-mm. And it was so much more than that. It was also mixed in with a seemingly failing marriage. So I remember having a difficult conversation with my husband one day. And shortly after that conversation, I had to go leave and drive an hour to go and pick up my mom from her most recent hospital stay because there were constant health crises and issues that landed her in rehab and hospital. And on the way there, my middle child, who again was really navigating a tough season, was having her teenage tantrum. And I kept my mouth closed because I learned, hey, sometimes don't trust your voice, just be quiet. So I sucked it up because I was like, sucked it up. Already not going well. Just had a conversation with my husband. Really not a good moment. So I get to the hospital and I'm frustrated. I'm ready to snap. And I just pull up to the door and say, y'all get out. Just get out. I will be in shortly. Just go sit in the lobby. I'll be in. So got my breath, gathered myself, went into the hospital where they were getting my mom ready to be discharged. Now, she could be a very, what is the word? She could just be very challenging. So she's fussing and fighting with them. They're trying to get her ready, try to get a pull up on her. So she's prepared for that drive home, and she was throwing an unbelievable tantrum. So I remember saying this because I was at that point. I remember looking at her, and in all respect, I said it very calmly. I said, Mama, I have had a very rough day. And if you think that you're going to get in the car acting like how you're treating them, I promise you, I will put you and my middle daughter out on the side of the highway and I will drive away. Because that's how spent I was, honestly. And then I walked out the hospital and I let them continue to fight with her. And I told my children, do not follow me. I need to go back to my car. I had to put myself in timeout and I will see you in a moment. So I go to the car and I remember thinking, man, you entrust me with a lot. Like it was a lot. And I was like, I'm supposed to show up for my husband and his needs, my girls and all their hormones, and my mama's demands while working full time and part time jobs, being very active in my ministry. I'm a ministry leader and trying to finish my doctoral degree. And I remember being so pissed. In all transparency, I was so pissed that all I could do was cry. And I remember while I was crying, these words just going in my head. And I remember screaming these dang penis, pads, and pull-ups. And I screamed it and I screamed it over and over. And I screamed it so much that I started laughing. And I was laughing so hard until like a peace just came over me. And then I remember calling one of my friends and I was like, girl, I got a revelation. This is going to be a bestseller. And I told her my title. And I said, I don't know if I can use it in the Christian realm because, I live my life for the Lord. I said, but the world needs to know that I'm out here in these streets with these three P's and I'm about to snap. And so we had a good laugh and she agreed with me that, hey, girl, you're not alone. There's many people walking through this season and people need to know. So I eventually got it together and went back in the hospital where they were happily rolling my mama, I swear, full speed to get to my car as soon as possible. And my teen daughter, with her lovely teenage hormones, was still sulking. And I was like, Mama still, you could tell, like, yeah, she gave them a run for their money. And then I get to the car and I get her in the car and I make an announcement. And I say, guys, God is teaching me how to handle these 3 Ps. They had no idea what I was talking about. And I need complete silence on the way home so he can speak to me. Otherwise, I will pull my car over and I will stand outside of the car until there's complete peace so we can ride home quietly. Needless to say, there was total silence on the way home. And that was the beginning of me learning what creating bold boundaries look like. And that's something I continue to hold very near and dear is balance with boundaries. God had given me my heart desires, everything I ever dreamed, everything I wanted. But it required for me to learn how to manage those miracles in the mess and to trust his guidance and grace. So I no longer lost myself. My life depends on me showing up first for me so I could be all that he calls me to be, even in this season of the 3 freaking Ps. And that's kind of it in a nutshell.
That was fantastic. Kudos to you and your 3 Ps and your bold boundaries. I love everything about that. I truly, truly love everything about that. You said, you said a quote and I was trying to write it, and I'm definitely going to end up pulling this quote. You're gonna have to help me though, because I was
Mhm.
writing it as you were ending up. You said my life depends on dang, what did you say?
Me showing up first for me
Yep, that was it.
so I can be all that he calls me to be.
There you go. I love that. I love that. So you told yourself during your middle child's teenage tantrum, as you called
Mhm.
it, sometimes don't trust your voice, just be quiet. Is that a strategy that you used often?
Absolutely, I had to learn it though, because my oldest, like I said, she reminds me a lot of Teddy. So we could have these dialogues, and she had all these words, and we could talk through anything. But my middle, she was more introverted. She would stuff things, and it would just explode. And I had to learn that I could not manage her emotions the way I did with my oldest, because 'cause they're 2 different unique individuals. And she taught me that quickly, and when those hormones hit, when puberty hit, man, did I have to learn a lot. And one of my tactics was timeouts, my timeouts. I would put myself in timeout, like, "Go to your room, shut the door," because my words carry weight, and my voice, it resounds, and I didn't
Mhm.
dare wanna say anything. I was biting my tongue. Oh, I know it was probably bleeding, because I wanted to say, "Look, like, helpful to get her told so bad. But I said, "No, Tiffany, you've been through puberty for how many years and you still have all those feelings and emotions? She's entitled to that. Don't take it personal. Just be quiet." So yeah, I've had to tell myself because I'm a words person and I want to talk through things and I want to understand why you and I've had to learn to say, girl, just be quiet. The time will come.
I think
Just
that
say,
phrase resonated with me because I needed that. Um, I need that because I've been working through something like that where I've had to kind of check my body and see what how my body was reacting and say this is not the time to say anything
Mhm.
because your body isn't stable right now. It will come out wrong, your emotions will take over. This conversation is not going to end well. And I'm learning to read myself. And
Yes.
so with when you said that, I wanted to know, when did you start to teach yourself this strategy? And was it always a good decision, or was it were there times where it was a bad decision for you?
I can't really think of that time that it was bad. My oldest daughter taught me. It's like your baby I'm sure she's teaching you a lot because she can articulate well, my oldest daughter, and so they were 5 years apart. And so when it was getting really hard, it was, of course, right before she went to college, she was my coach. She would say, because sometimes my daughter would talk to her and she would share her heart, not snitching, just give me insight and even say, well, mama, because I was very broken when I was raising my oldest and I had healed, I had started counseling, all of that. So I was more aware and more checking myself. Cause like you said, a lot of that stuff, it was just unraveling or bandaging wounds that had really nothing to do with her. And it was just colliding. But my oldest daughter, she'll be like, Mama, maybe next time. Or she said, sometimes, Mama, in that moment, she's not hearing anything you say. So how about, even though it may seem disrespectful, how about you just wait till y'all both can breathe and then have that conversation? Because does it have to be made in that moment? She taught me. She's taught me a lot. And then she helped my daughter learn how to better articulate her feelings. And we start being able to have more talk. So I would say that was 2, 3 years ago. It's gotten better. And now she knows how to use her voice in a respectful way, to where we can both listen and grow. I can't think of a time that it was negative because I think I did it so much with my oldest and I saw the potential damage that it was doing because she
Mhm.
valued my voice greatly, and I was like, "Nah, this one already seems to have some brokenness, and I can't." So, um, I had to learn, but it was a process, and it's still a process, and there's times now since they're older, I can get in my car and I roll out, like, "Mm-mm, I do not trust girl, you better not say a word to myself." And I just have to be strategic, very
Yeah,
strategic with her. Even now, I'll say, "Hey, you wanna go for a ride? Let's go get a slushie." Like, I have to be very intentional with her so that she's open. Otherwise, she'll shut it down,
yeah.
and
Have
she's worth
you
it.
I like that.
Mhm.
Have you had a chance to thank your daughter for that strategy? Have you
Oh,
had a
all the
conversation? Yeah,
all of it. I thank her for her forgiveness too. I thank her for me not making excuses, but understanding she got a lot of the unhealed version of me, and she was able to see. She told me how proud she was of me. Like, "Mama," because had that been me, I was like, "Yeah, that would have been a tragedy." But I had time to grow, and now she'll be looking like, "Oh, mama, I know you would have." Mama, I'm proud of you because I was
um,
ready to knock her out. And so she did validate the effort she saw because she knew, and I wasn't abusive or verbally abusive, but because she could handle it, I could be rowdy with my oldest. Mm-mm, not with my middle. So, and they're their own special people. So if you choose and when you choose to have more babies, I would encourage you to have 1 or 3 more. Keep it even numbers.
what you
So
do.
that there's no definite middle. Because I mean, honestly, the middle, they science show my friends, they have a special dynamic, and they require and you probably know that because it's 3 sisters, is you and 2? Or it's 4 of y'all
So there are 4 living. There should have been 5 of us.
before living, so 2 were middles. So they had you don't have a true middle of those who are living.
Yeah,
It makes a difference.
yeah.
So,
And
yes.
I was the 2nd, but I had to act like the oldest. So
I got
it's a
you.
weird dynamic all around. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But I thank her. A lot of my writing, stories, articles, and magazines is a tribute to my oldest and what I've learned from her to make me a better mother for the others. I'm glad I had the opportunity to grow, learn, change, and grow and show that to my younger children. And that it
yeah,
didn't damage my oldest because she understood that I was learning.
she sounds very mature.
She
Um, what
phenomenal.
is she studying?
Dentistry of all things. She's a social science mind, but her teeth are, man, they are
Wow.
beautiful. And she's always been fascinated with teeth. So yeah, she wants to be a dentist to educate underserved populations because our people oftentimes don't understand how you know,
Yeah,
oral
how it
hygiene is
affects
connected
everything.
to your
Yeah,
holistic health.
everything.
And so
Yeah.
she has a passion for that. And she'll
Well,
be teaching and counseling and all of that through dentistry.
Yeah, I was like, we need that kind of care.
Yes.
So, okay, I guess. We still
Yes.
we still need it. Okay, so there are a lot of questions that came up, and I don't know
Okay.
how I wanna ask them, but, um so you said that your husband, and I don't want to dig too much into your husband's background. I respect what
Yes.
you respect from
Mhm.
him. He was very
Yes.
deep into the Baptist upbringing, but you, on the other hand, were not, and you didn't really get into the church rearing until you got into
Mhm.
college.
That's correct. Mhm.
So oftentimes, as a woman, women are raised to be quiet and submissive in the church. And with all of the things that were going on with him working so much and not being home as much, and you having the burden of life on top of being working full time and trying to pursue your future and your success and parenting and
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 all the things.
all of the things to get where you are today.
Mhm.
Did you feel liberated to be able to talk to him about, hey, I need you home, or hey, I need you to have some responsibility? I know it can be hard to talk to men and say, this is what I need you to do at home. Did you feel that freedom?
Yes. I had the freedom, but I had a complex as well because I was raised, half my life by a single mother. And she taught us, I think, from her hurt from my dad, because going into it, she never expected to be a single mother. You don't depend on anybody for anything.
Mm.
And it was so ingrained in us. Even when we got married, my sister and I, it was kind of like, you better not, don't put all your eggs in a basket. They can switch up in a minute. And so we weren't raised in a Christian home. So it was a lot of things that I think subconsciously were adopted. So then I would ask so much. And I was thinking, anyway, she did it. I could do it. And then I had the Lord. So I was like, and some things I felt like, yeah, it was a lot of dynamics, but I eventually embraced, like, during counseling, part of it was my counselor told me, "I think you have a superwoman complex, and you've trained him that I got it." Because rather than deal with conflict and back and forth, it was like, "You know what? I've asked, I've had the conversation. Never mind. I got it, and I made it happen, and I made it look easy." And so she confronted that in me, part of that. But then even through those conversations and growing and going back, it's like I'm having a conversation, I'm asking, still ain't being done. So I had to start focusing on what can I control, because I realized a lot of that came from his upbringing. His dad was the provider. He worked all the time. Now, mind you, mama didn't work. And so he just knew about
Mm.
providing. He knew about going to work, and that was the way you show love and support. And I'm like, "But your mama didn't work." And so I had to just eventually say, "Tiffany, what can you control?" And focus on that to keep your peace. But that was a lot of our marital issues as well. It was. And so it was kind of like as they got older, it was like leveling up. Like, cause I'm like, hey, y'all could do more for yourself, you know, because no matter the stage or age, I think that was gratifying for him. And I also think that was safer. Because as you said, you didn't want a girl. All my children are named Wills because they were all gonna be Willie James Sayles III, because they were gonna be boys. I was gonna have boys. And every time I saw a vagina on a sonogram, I'm like, "Okay, what we naming this one?" Because I never picked out girl names because I knew girls, and I didn't like girls. Most of my friends were boys, and then God gave me girls. It's it scared me. I know it was intimidating for him, so it was easy to lose himself in work. And because she got it. I'm superwoman, right? Yeah. Then I buried that cake. And I just had to learn how to truly lean on the Lord, because I can't say that ever really got better. And yeah,
We'll leave that alone. We'll leave
yeah,
that there.
yeah.
Um,
It's
you said a lot of things that are.
a lot of words.
Mhm.
A lot of words. Yes.
You said a lot of words, yes. Um, mhm.
That intimidates him too. And my girls are words, especially my oldest, like you said. her words overwhelm me, so I can only imagine. Sometimes he just hides, but a lot of words.
It was just there are a lot of dynamics that contribute to your where you are now.
Mhm.
Um, we often fall into these traps of what people did in the past, but nobody nobody's living like that anymore. Like most families are multi working family homes. We can't have the same standards. Yeah. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yes.
Because I don't want to bring my personal thoughts in because my personal thoughts include some personal people
Got
that
you.
I promise
We
I
wanna
would never
protect that.
bring into the conversation on this podcast.
Yes. That's wise, and all we can tell is our story, and so my efforts of sharing, I try to be very intentional because I get to share my story, and I have characters in my story that play their part, but I am the star, and so I get to share the story according to my perception and my experience, and others are free to share theirs part as well, but I do, as far as what I can control, I've always told my children, because we've always had very honest conversations, that don't allow what you see to become your standard. Like, this is the standard, but all you have control over is yourself.
Yeah.
And at some point, you have to decide, are you going to dwell on this, be depressed, sad? Because I went through all of that for a season, or are you going to live your best life doing what you can do? And then learning how, and I'll share that for my wisdom, learning how to reach out and not feeling like reaching out is uncovering. Because for the longest, I wouldn't ask for help because what it's gonna look like. Honey, please, what's gonna look like if they find me dead? So I had to start saying, "Hey, whoever think whatever, I need help." And I learned to
Yeah.
do that.
And then what will they say if they find you dead and you could have asked for help?
And they think, and these are people close to me, she never asked. I could only imagine.
Yeah.
I can only imagine it hurts them.
So, okay, we're going Woo! Um I'm going to wrap up the questioning with this last thought.
Yes,
Um because you had an awful lot that you carried. Um but you said you basically walked out of that hospital with those 3 P's that led to peace.
yes, that's good.
The 3 P's to your path of peace.
I love that. Let me write that down. That might be a book. That may be
I'm
a
just
nicer
saying.
title.
I'm
That
just
may be a
saying
nice.
cuz that's what I heard. That's what I heard you say. And you said you entrust me with a lot. And then I heard him say, he reminded me that he'll never put more on us than we can bear. And I always hated that scripture. I always hated that scripture because I'm like, well, how big do you think my shoulders are, God?
Exactly. And what I heard a wise deacon once say to me, he said, "He won't, but you can." And I feel like that was part on me
Hmm.
because he wasn't allowing this for me to bear. He gave me community to share, and I chose to bear. Yeah, that was on me.
I love that. I think that led to your bold boundaries, though. And that's what I wanted to draw from that statement. That one day was all it took for you to step out, get into your own timeout, yell out those words, penises, pads, and pull ups, find you some peace, and then you found yourself bold boundaries, and you said you found balance with those boundaries. And I just want to know now what with that balance? Now what with those boundaries? What does that feel like now?
It feels like I can control what I can control. And what I recently said is boundaries that are not enforced or non-existent. And my daughter even reminded me of that when she was just home from college. But don't forget, unenforced boundaries don't exist. So I've learned how to not just create them, but hold them, even when it hurts. Even when I have to say, "Oh, this is painful," but I gotta preserve me. And I don't say that in a spiritual sense, like I gotta take care of me or anything, but it's up to me to make sure I know where to draw the line and keep it drawn and not keep moving it and moving it. Because nobody knows. It's not fair to expect from people what I don't uphold for myself. So if I'm
Yeah,
willing to do it, then hey, thank you, Tiffany. And I've learned I know what's on this plate. So it's up to Tiffany to make sure, hey, you're managing this, you're storing in this plate well. Or you're not about to dump that. Do no is truly a beautiful sentence. And I can do it with peace. I can do it without guilt, whether it's concerning my children, my mama, my husband, whomever. I've learned how to assess and adjust.
I love it.
And yeah, that's what it looks like. And it's daily. It's a continuing in that.
Awesome. I love that. As you were talking, I was reminded of something that happened today. Now, this is a little boundary, but I put it up. I went to the store today, and this is after I left, and my child had a snack. She had multiple snacks. She had a Rice Krispie treat. She had her sweet and spicy Doritos. And I went to the store and I got me some chocolate. I even picked her up some nuggets because she didn't eat for a long time today. And I kind of had a feeling she wasn't going to eat the dinner that I was going to make her. So I got her some nuggets. And then she saw my chocolate and she said, Mom, can I have some? And I said, No. And she said, But Mom, why? I said, Because it's for me. And she said, But Mom, that's not fair. I want some chocolate. I said, But you already had a snack. And this is for me. And usually I'll hide whenever I want my stuff. But I said, No, I'm not hiding. I bought this for me. And I bought it intentionally just for me.
That's
And I
right.
don't care that you see me eating my chocolate because you already had all your things. And I'm allowed to tell you no. She said, Why can't I have it? I said, Because I bought it for me. And I don't want you to have it because it is mine.
I
So
love it.
that is my boundary today. And I no longer do I have to share everything
And
just because you asked
everything.
for
That's
it.
it. That is great. Honestly, at that age, it really is good. And I know with only children, that's its own dynamic too. So they've got to learn. Otherwise, they grow up thinking
It belongs to me.
everything caters to me and it's not real life. So
Oh,
I'm proud of you.
thank
You
you.
get a virtual sticker
I, I
because it's
needed
hard,
that
honey. They'll
sticker.
sniff you down and everything. See what you put in the trash?
And I mean, she
Yeah.
came over to me and said, Mom, your breath smells like chocolate. It sure does. But anywho, I thank you so much for joining us and sharing your Her Story segment. I had a ball listening to your story. Like I said earlier, you truly are poetic. I don't even know if you do it on purpose. I know we talked about you being a writer, but I love it. I love a fellow writer. It makes me smile. Um, I'm excited to learn a little bit more about your children's book. So whenever I ask you what's going on, I hope that we get to hear about it.
Yes.
But we are about to play tea time, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Tea time is a game of rapid fire. I have a bucket full of questions,
Uh,
and I have some deep questions, and some of them are just for fun. In this game, Tiffany will have 3 minutes to answer as many questions as she can so that we just get a little bit more insight into who she is. So, with that being
all right.
said, all right, 3 minutes on the clock. First question. What's the worst piece of advice you ever received? Oh, you are muted.
Sorry. Time heals our wounds.
Hmm. We'll talk about that later. What always makes you giggle?
My girls. I mean,
I like
the stuff
that.
they do and say, it's like, where did that come from? Yeah, they keep a
That is
smile on my face.
relatable wholeheartedly. Name one book, podcast, or resource that's changed your perspective.
Oh, so many. I mean, there's so many that's hard to say. I love the 4 agreements. That's something outside of my normal spiritual, the 4 agreements.
I think I started reading that before. Have to get back to it. What season of life are you in right now, and what is it teaching you?
Um, I'm in the season of 2 things can be true, and what it's teaching me is that joy and pain can reside together, and I can learn from them both. I
Hmm,
as long as I'm willing to embrace them both.
I like that. What's the best gift you ever received?
Next to my salvation, my girls.
Oop, here's a long one. You see a social media post of a controversial parenting choice. Are you the perfect parent troll or the gotta figure out what works for you parent?
Gotta figure out what works for you. I don't know enough to say anything. Mm-mm.
I probably need to reword that question, but um, name your life's Broadway play.
Hmm. The both and.
The both and. Okay, I gotta see this one. What's your hidden talent?
Kinda what you said, like, I am a poet, but I speak in bars. Sometimes things words just they just come together. That and
Yeah.
I played the clarinet for several years, so
Okay,
most people don't
bars.
know that.
What is the last TV show or movie you binge watched?
The Residents.
I like that one. If fear wasn't a factor, what dreams would you choose right now?
To pursue full-time entrepreneurship business.
Yes, I'm down with the cause.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for playing Tea Time. Would
Thank
you
you.
mind explaining? You know what? No, you don't have to explain nothing to me. You said what you said. That was the game.
Yes.
Thank you for playing Tea Time.
Yes.
I'm going to give you back the mic, and I would love for you to share any encouraging words or inspiration that you have for any guest, whether they be a mom, whether they be a dad, or any type of caregiver today that you might want to leave with us before you go. So I'm going to fall back and give you back the floor.
Create and utilize your streams of support. We often get caught up in streams of income and finances. But when it comes to caregiving on any level, you better figure out and find and use streams of support, whether that's counseling, mentorship, small groups, whatever, because help is available. We just have to be willing to reach out and find out and then follow through with it. Suffering in silence helps no one. And it definitely doesn't allow us to show up as our best. And so utilize streams of support.
I love that. I don't think I've ever heard it like that, and I definitely appreciate that. It also made me think of a song, and I know I'm silly. Reach out and touch somebody's hand. Sorry.
Yeah, I can't sing a lick,
Okay,
so I
good.
direct you and lip sync.
I was like, yes, you joined in. Woo! Okay. So,
Yes.
Tiffany, can you tell us what's next for you? And when you're done telling us what's next for you, how can listeners connect with you after today's episode?
Well, I'm currently launching my debut book, We Say, and I'm working on the series because my publisher is a visionary. And so she's pushing me forward, as well as contributing to the Moments for Moms Unlock Spring 2026 edition. And we just finished launching and releasing Moments for Moms Volume 4. And now we're getting ready to work on Volume 5. So, working on all of that along with a special project with one of my sisters in Christ that I attend church with. So, yeah, just working on a lot while still doing all the things.
You
And I would
busy?
love, huh?
You busy?
That is an understatement. But they can connect with me. I am becoming more visible. I used to only be on Facebook, but this journey has expanded me. So on IG, Dr.T Sales. Facebook is just Tiffany Sales. Um, my website is Dr. Tiffany Sales, one word.com. I have a YouTube channel that's just starting for We Say really, and it's author Dr. Tiffany Sales. And then my email is Tiffany Sales 2024 at gmail.com. So all the ways to reach me, I would love to connect.
Awesome. So all of these ways will be in the comments, in the descriptions below, wherever you find these podcasts, your podcast. So if you would like to connect to Dr. Tiffany Sales, please look below and you can connect with her directly from this link. And, please stay connected. Make sure you follow her. Make sure you comment. Make sure you subscribe and stay in the know because you heard how busy she is. And we want to make sure we support her. She's doing big things. And, I would love to follow all of the things that are going on with her, her books, her projects, her kids. I want to talk to her daughter. Shoot, she might have some coaching advice
She
for
would
me.
love to talk to you. She loves to talk.
Shoot,
Yes.
call me, girl. No, but Dr. Tiffany, I have a few questions that I ask all parents. And so
Okay.
this is like my data gathering that I have. I just want to know, is parenting hard?
I will say that it is the most challenging, stretching, while also rewarding journey that has grown me up in ways I did not know that I could grow and has increased my reliance and dependence on God like never before. It was a lot tougher than getting my PhD. So hard, it's perspective, I guess, or relative, very challenging, I'll say.
I like that answer. And more challenging than your dissertation. Well, now I know I will not be doing that. But but are they still standing?
By God's grace, they
Yes,
are
girl.
not only standing, they are thriving.
Yes.
Truly.
I love it. I love it. What would you like to proudly tell our guest today on the mountaintop?
This mama is nailing it.
Oh, yes, she is. That mama, that one right there, Dr. Tiffany Sayles. She is
Yes.
nailing it. Yes, she is. So, listeners, if you like this episode and you want to hear more personal parenting stories like that of Dr. Tiffany Sayles, please make sure you follow my social media and subscribe at Nailed It Motherhood Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And don't forget to follow us on your favorite podcast platform so that you never miss an episode. I'm trying. I promise I'm trying to do better on TikTok. Keep praying. Keep praying. Don't forget to shop all things Nailed It Motherhood at our brand new Nailed It Motherhood shop, where you can grab journals, merch, and more to support our parenting journey as well as your own. We welcome your questions, your comments, and your ideas, and we definitely hope to keep the conversation going. Until next time, Keep on doing what it is you do. Smooches. Bye.